Hello everybody, today I'm going to be going over chapter 13, Drinking and Alcoholism. Binge drinking is defined as the consumption of 5 or more consecutive drinks for men or 4 or more consecutive drinks for women. Stress is a contributing factor to binge drinking. The extent of drinking and alcoholism in the U.S. About 17 million Americans are alcoholics, although this only constitutes about 7% of the population. Most Americans do not become alcoholics despite our drinking culture on college campuses. Americans are moderate drinkers on a global scale, although alcohol abuse is the most common of drug abuses. Alcoholism is one of the nation's largest health problems, as drunk driving is the #1 cause of death for ages 16 to 24. Alcohol abuse and alcohol dependence is listed in the DSM-5 as alcohol use disorder, or AUD. Some myths of alcohol abuse include that most alcoholics are homeless, but the truth is, homeless alcoholics only make up 5% of the U.S. population of alcoholics. Another myth is that mixing different alcohol can get you drunk faster, but this is not true. What can get you drunk faster is the amount of alcohol that you're consuming. Another myth is that drinking black coffee or dousing your head with cold water will sober you up. Another myth is that only drinking beer will not make you an alcoholic. But the truth is, most beer drinkers are more likely to become alcoholics. And the last myth is that sex becomes more exciting after several drinks. What alcohol does to its users. Alcohol is a depressant, and it reduces our mental and bodily functioning. But it does not diminish the drinker's moral competence, although it is thought to by the general public. Small amounts of alcohol can actually be beneficial to health. Moderate drinkers are less likely to suffer from heart disease, liver, and generally live longer and have lower death rates than abstainers. Common damage from heavy drinking includes liver damage, heart disease, and strokes. Additionally, heavy drinking can cause impaired memory, ability to learn, premature aging, and fetal alcohol syndrome. Some social consequences of drinking include automobile accidents and criminal offenses. Social factors in drinking. Social factors can determine who is more likely to abuse alcohol, and these social factors include age, race, ethnicity, religion, socioeconomic status, and regional location. Men are more likely to consume alcohol than women and are also 4 times more likely to become alcoholics than women. Compared to whites, African Americans are less likely to drink, but more likely to become alcoholics, probably due to the stresses of poverty, discrimination, and deprivation. Hispanic Americans are also more likely to abstain from drinking, but those who don't consume more. Some explanations also include poverty rather than machismo culture. Native Americans seem to have more serious issues with alcohol, and this may have been attributed to genetics, claiming that they metabolize alcohol differently, but it is actually due to sociocultural factors such as stress from poverty as well. Irish Americans have the highest rate of alcoholism in the U.S., while Italian and Chinese Americans have the lowest rates of alcoholism. And religiosity does not seem to be related to drinking behavior. Binge drinking is higher among lower social classes, which may be due to the stresses of life experiences. And people in higher social classes drink more compared to people in lower social classes. Alcohol consumption is the highest in the Northeast and the lowest in the South. Urban areas seem to have higher rates of alcohol consumption, which might point to stresses in life in these areas. A global perspective on drinking. More affluent countries, for example, European and North American societies, consume more alcohol than lower countries, such as South Asia or the Middle East. Russia and South Korea have the highest drinking rates. For South Korea, this is due to business and work culture. If you want to get ahead in work, you have to participate in this drinking culture. Drinking in countries such as China and India are expected to rise due to increasing prosperity. What is alcoholism? Many classify alcoholism as chronic drinking. The more drinking problems you have, the more likely you are to be an alcoholic. Drinking problems include excessive drinking over extended periods of time, psychological addiction, and an irresistible craving for alcohol, physical addiction, experiencing physical discomfort when drinking stops, alcohol-related problems such as divorce, car accidents, or inability to work. Becoming an alcoholic. In the book, there are 4 stages to becoming an alcoholic. Stage 1 includes social drinkers, and they experience a relief of tension when they are drinking. Stage 2 is when someone becomes psychologically addicted, so they experience blackouts, and with these blackouts, they also experience cravings. Stage 3 is being physically addicted, when one experiences chills, shakes, or other withdrawal symptoms from not drinking. And stage 4 is hitting rock bottom, where someone hits total dependence and becomes isolated and withdrawn, and they fear that alcohol may be taken away from them. College students and alcohol. Binge drinking happens less today on college campuses, from 44% in 2001 to 37.9% in 2015. In the 1980s, binge drinking was a serious problem because at the same time the drinking age was raised to 21. A social profile of college drinkers tends to be male, white, ages 8 to 23. They're usually traditional students and involved in athletics or fraternities and engage in risky behaviors. Women and alcohol. Women are more vulnerable to alcohol in a physical sense, but are also more likely to become alcoholics. Today, women are more likely to drink. More women drink today due to increased freedom and power in the U.S., mainly due to gender equality, or increasing gender equality. Binge drinking in women has gone up 125% from 1993 to 2001. Women tend to not be diagnosed with alcoholism even if they drink heavily. Alcoholism can be different in women, as they are more likely to have a family history of the disease, more likely to have experienced a stressful event, and tend to drink at an older age. And they usually start drinking abusively if their partners have become heavy drinkers. What causes alcoholism? Some researchers argue that there is a biological disposition and suggest that biological factors may contribute to alcoholism. For example, the A1 gene, which makes someone seek pleasure from drinking alcohol or drugs. And there also may be factors of alcohol intolerance in Chinese and Japanese people that experience a flushing response whenever they drink alcohol. Some psychologists attribute alcoholism to having negative personality traits or having an alcoholic personality. These traits include being antisocial, anxious, or egocentric. From a sociological standpoint, psychologically vulnerable individuals and people alike are more likely to form groups that encourage each other to become alcoholics. And another sociological theory points to acute inner tensions in people by their culture and culturally induced attitude towards drinking as a means to relieve tensions. Controlling alcohol use and alcohol abuse. In the 1990s, there was a sin tax placed on hard liquor to discourage binge drinking. as well as in the 1980s, raising the drinking age to 21. And there's also a law in many states called the social host law, which punishes adults for allowing teenagers to drink in their homes. When alcoholism was seen as a disease in the 1970s, or recognized as a disease in the 1970s, detox and treatment centers were implemented. But many who come out of those centers went back to alcohol again. It was found that a combination of aversion therapy and group therapy were found to be effective. But the most popular and effective method for alcoholics is Alcoholics Anonymous, which was founded in 1935. Summary: most Americans drink, 37% abstain, and 6% suffer from alcoholism. The main misconceptions of alcoholics are that they are homeless and that black coffee and cold water can sober you up. Drinking beer cannot make you an alcoholic, and sex is better when intoxicated. Alcohol is a depressant and reduces mental and physical ability, but not moral competence. People that are more likely to drink are male, white, liberal Protestants or Catholics, and of high status. People who are more likely to become alcoholics are of lower status, African, Irish, Hispanic, or Native American. Alcohol consumption is greater in more affluent countries compared to poorer countries. Alcoholism is excessive drinking and being physically and psychologically addicted. Becoming an alcoholic starts by social drinking, then you become psychologically and physically addicted, and then you have a total dependence. Binging drinking occurs when someone has a lack of opportunities to learn responsible drinking habits. White males in fraternities are more likely to binge drink. Increased gender inequality can explain a rise of women drinking. According to the biological theory, alcoholism is caused by a nutritional deficiency in the body. Another theory includes that alcoholic personality, which includes negative personality traits. And the sociological theories include that certain individuals are psychologically vulnerable to alcoholism, or that alcoholism is caused by acute inattentions. Thank you for listening. Have a good day.